Car shows can get pretty darn repetitive, and scattered amongst the car enthusiasts and the beautiful array of cars are car photographers and filmmakers. Now, to me, car shows never really got me excited. I'd rather see the car in motion or being interacted with by an individual rather than seeing them parked in a line. Now, I'm usually at these car shows as a networking opportunity so I can meet a lot of passionate individuals and brand reps. But I knew for me that if I'm gonna be at these car shows as a car creative, I need to at least capture the cars that are there. And we've seen all these great car show highlights that with crazy gimbal moves, big drone shots, and the creativity is actually pretty fantastic. It takes a lot of creativity to take a parked car and find a way for you to move with it or create something exciting with basically a parked piece of architecture. But that takes a lot of time and effort, and my main objective at these events is to network. So I kind of put myself in a creative box that wouldn't really impose on my opportunity to network, while also stretching myself to think outside the box a little bit. So I told myself, I'm only gonna bring one camera, one lens, one focal length, no drones, no gimbals, no tripods, just simple. But since my main squeeze is video, I needed to find a way to create motion within the frame. And the motion with parked cars in a frame is people. So I just started by finding a pleasant frame, locking it off, and letting the camera roll as spectators came in and out of the frame observing the car, just kind of like a fly on the wall experience as people got to share their joy and enthusiasm for cars. And I actually really fell in love with this style. It allowed me to create something simple while also not really interfering on my networking opportunities, while also stretching myself at these pretty redundant car shows. For instance, at like Luft 9, I got the profile of each car, lining up the chassis, and just got, you know, maybe 10-15 seconds of each car. And then I was able to do like match cuts and be able to kind of cut the car up with this Wes Anderson idea. And then at the next car show, Rise and Shine at Race Service, I put on a super wide 16-30, which was the Laowa Cine Ranger series. It's actually a really excellent lens, very heavy duty, very compact, and great cine zoom lens. But when you zoom all the way out to 16, you kind of get this retro vignetting. You can kind of see the edges of the lens and the edges of the framing. There's some pretty intense like lens distortion and a lot of vignetting, which I kind of fell in love with. It was a style, and so I leaned into that. And so this kind of became my style, not overthinking it, just kind of setting up a frame that I liked and resisting my urge to move the camera itself. Just be the tripod and let the spectators do the rest. And then at Luft 10, same treatment, different lens, different focal length, but I tried a different kind of post process where I did a bicolor instead. And many of you guys have asked me multiple times, like, dude, how did you achieve this bicolor grade? And that's what we're gonna talk about today, how to do a bicolor grade. It's actually not a hard process. It's actually pretty darn easy. And if you just lock your camera down, I think that's probably the way it works the best, is if you lock your camera down and then allow for motion to kind of go through the frame rather than keeping your camera in motion. That's where I have found the most success in this bicolor grade attempt or style. So let's jump into Premiere and see what we got here.
Wow.
All right, now we are in Premiere. Don't hate me. Let's go ahead and create a new sequence. Let's do Luft bicolor grade. So now we're gonna go through and make some selects on the clips that we would like to use in our sequence. I'm just gonna speed through here, see which ones I liked. I ended up settling on using the Sigma 28 to 45 1.8 as my main lens for this shoot. So I had a little bit of range, but also had a lot of flexibility in the aperture. It's a really sharp lens, really fantastic. And for a lot of these shots, since I am the tripod, I use a lot of warp stabilizer, and then I will switch it to no motion rather than smooth motion on the settings. I don't like bringing a tripod to these things. It always draws more attention and there's more time for setup, and I'd rather just pop a squat, use the internal stabilization, get a few, 10 to 15 seconds, and then go with it. But in doing that, there's always a little bit of a shake, and you'll have a few people like pass right in front of your lens, and that's okay, but it does mess with warp stabilizer. And so I try to just kind of play around with how much warp stabilizer is going to affect my final still image. I'm constantly having to tell people it's fine, please walk through my frame, because most people don't want to ruin the shot, but I like it when people are in my shots. So I've got a few pre-selects. I'm going to speed through here and just grab some quick ones, so that way we don't waste time. This clip I like a lot because you have already so much, frame within a frame. You have this doorway that's framing up yet another doorway, and then you have some people in the frame, and there's this big line right there. That's gonna be really cool for a bicolor grade. Let's do that one. I found this one actually that I really, really enjoyed. So let's go ahead and pull that one. And then my favorite one, honestly, is probably this one because it's in front of an old marquee. Yeah, I really like this one too. Right here. That's so good. I got my buddy Rico, he's engaging with the vehicle, I love that. Ooh, I like this one a lot because you have those straight up and down lines right there. You have some leading lines over here, and the way that the car is framed up on the platform, it's very visually appealing. So let's pull that one. Oh, this one's a great one. I like that one. Be remiss if I didn't use this one because it's the famous Back to the Future clock tower. And yeah, I just have to. Now we're gonna go over to effects and we're gonna look up stabilizer. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stabilize each one of these clips. But instead of doing a smooth motion, we are going to do a no motion. Let's go ahead and speed through this process.
2,000 years later.
So now that we've gotten a few select clips that we want to bicolor grade, and they've all been stabilized, so they're pretty stable for the most part, let's go ahead and jump into our Lumetri. So first I'm gonna drop on my first grade, the base grade, which is the one that, which is my grade that I normally start with all my projects. Go to my LUTS profile here. So we're gonna drop on my flagship grade. So that does a lot of the heavy lifting for us already from S-Log. I'm gonna do some tinkering here to kind of mess with the curves a little, bring up the shadows, and then bring up more of the shadows here, bring down those highlights. Already we're looking at a pretty appealing frame here. Maybe turn it a little bit colder. Let's see what we got here. So increase the contrast, a little bit of whites and blacks. Not bad. Okay, I'm already liking this color grade. It's looking good. Let's move these a little bit over to the side here. Yeah, pretty appealing, standard grade, but still nothing exciting going on in the frame. So let's go ahead and what we're gonna do next is we're gonna copy this entire file and we're gonna stack it on top of our grade, or our graded clip. We're gonna take this one and delete the color grade back to standard. And now we're gonna put on a new grade. But first we're gonna do an S-Log convert here. Let's color grading. I'm gonna use an S-Log 3 to Rec 709 convert. Okay, perfect. Now we're gonna get a new layer here. I'm gonna go up to LUTS. And this, I actually purchased this LUT way back when from the LUTCO. It was the kind of Wes Anderson LUT package that they were offering. So, and let's go with variation 1, see what we get. Already, much more appealing and very bright and Wes Anderson-esque. Let's see here, we kind of bring down the bring up the shadows a little more. Let's see if we want to do more of the blues. Let's keep it roughly there. Contrast, but yeah, so don't want to dip too far because then we our image starts to fall apart a little bit. All right, so let's just say that this is pretty good, and we can always tinker with it next. Now we're gonna go to crop, pull on the crop up onto our top layer. We're gonna minimize all these ones. And now, this is when we get to play with masking and different types of grading, so you can see the grade underneath as well as the one on top. So it's a duplicated clip, so all the motion is going to be the same, but the color is going to vary. So I'm going to zoom out here. What I would like to do, I like the leading lines of this building, so maybe the inside of this window kind of coming all the way down. Let's go ahead and start with a little pin here, and then we'll put a pin down there. Let's just kind of get that more dialed. All right, so now we're going to go down here. There. All right, now we're gonna take this pin, bring it in a touch, bring this one out. Let's go into fit. All right, so no, it's still a little bit off. Let's go back to 25% here. Let's go inside here. Let's make this a little bit narrower. Not too much though. Great, that's pretty good. And now it's kind of lining up with the 4 too. So now we're going to finish this. We're going to take down our feather all the way, and then we are going to increase it by 100%. So now you've got that little line over there, but I would like to invert it so this is more so like a peak. Now we have this really cool contrasting line of a color grade. Pretty fun. So that's kind of how you do that. Let's do it with the next one too. So I'm going to just take that base grade from my previous clip, throw it on here. Already not too bad. Using the same information from the last one. A little bit too hot in the highlights maybe. Maybe we'll just kind of do that. All right, maybe warm it up a touch. Great, I like that. That's pretty good. So now let's take this grade right here. I'm gonna copy that one, paste it, stack it. Now we're going to delete this one, put on a new one back from our conversion kit. Let's grading. All right, now we've got an S-log on there. Now we're going to put up a new Lumetri color effect. Browse here. And now we're going to go into our asteroid pack. Let's go with variation 2 on this one. So that's much warmer. Maybe, let's see, do we want to go with a warm one or do we want to go with a cool one? Let's see, let's go neutral. Colors on the rainbow look pretty cool. Let's try variation 3. A little warmer, finding the in-between. 4. Let's go with this one. And no, let me see what number 1 is like. Much bluer. I like the warm. Let's go with the warm. So now we're gonna go, let's follow the leading lines of the door here, how it kind of cuts through here. So now we're gonna go to our effects, pull on a crop effect, and now minimize. Let's go from here to here, kind of line it up with that line of that door. And then try to make it kind of angular and nope, not what I wanted. I don't really want a lot. I still want a little bit of a sliver. So let's go a little closer to maybe that. And, all right, now bring our feather down to 0. Let's see what we get. Invert it. And just kind of a quick grade. Have a kind of fun slash. We can probably clean this up a little bit with the lines because I think they're a little bit off, but you get the idea of how to make these masks, these color masks, so that you can have these. Oh yeah, let's line it up with actually the line of the window. So now we got 2 leading lines kind of tapering together. That's pretty cool. So now, boom, There we go, we got some leading lines here. It's still messy, come on, Evan. It's difficult just to see the lines. All right, better. So you still have this kind of fun grade. Maybe even if you wanted to, you could even push this one out a little bit further and then make this a little bit more angular. That's cool, I like that too. You know, we could even follow this line too. That would be kind of cool. Let's see if we can go even more extreme here. So if we do that, make it even, no, I don't want to do that. Make it even, stop. Make it even more angular there. Stretch this line up a bit further. And then have that leading line there. Kind of lose it on the top of the frame, but that's not too bad. So you see what I mean, like you can do a lot of really cool effects and follow the lines. You can follow these leading lines right here in the top. You can, you know, mess with the sides. Let's do 2 more here. Let's get our base grade here. Cool, nice, cool effect here. Let's actually go a little bit more with the contrast here, a little bit colder. And let's bring down a little more contrasty here in the colors. This one is actually a lot of fun to play with. Duplicate. Done. Take off the color grade. Do our standard convert. New effect. Asteroid City. Let's go with variation 3. I think that was a pretty warm one. So let's boost up here, do our normal. Somewhere there. And we can always take it up the temperature a little more dramatic here, because you're really creating these bits of flavor of different color grades, and might be a little bit hot, but let's bring that down there. This is actually where I had a lot of fun with the masking, is because I wanted to kind of create like spotlights, but I also wanted to get the cars as well in the effect. So what I want to do here, maybe I'll do here and here. Then we'll come up here, and then we'll do another slash of light over here. It's all kind of coming to a point. Stop it. No, don't want that. Let's get this a little bit more angled in. I don't want I just want to move this baseline a bit more of a point. These ones too, so it kind of looks like it's coming from a central location. So now we have these 2 slashes of color. Hold down the feathering. So that's what it looks like on the invert. And then when you throw it the other way, get these really cool slashes of light. We've done a couple different variations, and like I said, you can tailor on the color here. This one's a little bit too much, maybe on the green side, so let's bring in some purple. Let's give it more of those brights. Okay, that looks much better, much better. So this one, you can tinker around with the way that the mask flares out and comes to a point, and kind of, I like the idea of giving those like little searchlights that you see at openings of movies, so that was really fun with that. So that was the idea behind that one. Let's do one more where it's a bit more, so I've got a lot of these different clips that we can go through, but I want to do just one more to show you a different idea. So, okay, this one. Let's do this one. Let's get a base grade on it real quick. Base grade. Not too bad. Let's do, yeah, it's pretty standard, pretty efficient, nothing too crazy. So now let's go with this one. Stack it. All right, so now we're gonna go to our convert, color grading. Let's get our Rex 709. Variation one, let's see what variation. Much better, okay, yeah, it was way too strong. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so we have this blue. I really wanted to go blue with this one because I wanted to emphasize the beach and the surfboards, and that kind of give that really intense blue effect. So let's go ahead and tinker this in, tailor all of the aspects, go really hard blue here. So already we're getting some really fun colors in here, in this really poppin'. So now let's bring our crop in. And on this one, I'm gonna do this a little bit different, where I'm gonna have these points throughout it. So now we have kind of this wave that's going through it. And now we're going to make these nice and almost like we've got waves going through the entire thing. Very surfy. So now, when we increase our selection here, we have this kind of wave that goes all the way through the frame. Still, there's not as much contrast as much as I would like, so maybe we make this top layer a bit more blue to kind of give it a little bit more. I really like that too. The stucco. Maybe we invert it, actually. That's fun too. So, there are a lot of variations you can use. I like this one because it gives a little bit more flow with the picture itself, and so now what you're left with are these quick clips. It's pretty simple, right? It's projects and moments like this that really encourage me to put boundaries on my creativity. Boundaries can be really good because if you don't put boundaries on yourself, you kind of have this widespread with no focus or direction, and you can't really develop the depth of your work. You may be able to go in all these different directions, but you're not really focusing on the depth and the upward trajectory in your creativity. So no one really wants to be, a mile wide and only an inch deep. So I like putting creative boundaries on my work so that way I can really focus in and dive deep and go upwards with the stuff that I'm doing. So just a little tidbit. Thank you all for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and share this with a friend that also likes to play with new filmmaking techniques. The filmmaking industry today is extremely, extremely hard, and it's getting way harder with the AI and marketing budgets getting slashed to ribbons, and the work for exposure kind of technique getting kind of out of hand. And I'm all about people doing spec work and doing free stuff, but when brands take advantage of that, we end up losing. So please do what you guys can to like and subscribe, support artists that are doing what they can to give you free information, free experience, and free knowledge of what we've kind of built up over the years. So the least that you guys could do is support us, support other artists that are doing what they can and grinding to be able to provide you with valuable assets and valuable information. So again, thank you so much. Like and subscribe, and until next time, cheers.